welcome to another episode of We Can't Talk at the Same
Yes,
Time.
Hi, I'm Donnie.
Hi, I'm Jen, and we are the Filthy MTG Casuals. Welcome to another episode of Casually Speaking. ...
Today we're talking about beginner Magic cards that were printed from 1997 to 2000.
Ish. This is kind of the time frame.
So like Portal 2?
Portal Second Age, Portal 3 Kingdoms, and Starter. All right. So what we've done is we've gone through and we've each picked a couple different cards, kind of cards that are similar to cards that came out in one of those beginner sets compared to a card that came out in like a more standard set or more widely released set.
That has pretty much basically the same characteristics. You know, the casting cost might be a different matter. I mean, it could be one pip different or, you know, something to that effect. But, like, essentially, the cards are functionally identical.
Donnie, why don't you start us off?
All right, so the first two cards that stuck out to me when we started talking about this is Norwood Priestess and Elvish Piper. The only difference between these two cards is one pip. Norwood Priestess is 2 green, 2 other. Elvish Piper is 1 green, 3 other. Both cards, they're 1/1s. They function identically the same.
What do they do?
The text on Norwood Priestess, now we have to keep in mind that this is a beginner set. So it says, on your turn, before you attack, you may tap Norwood Priestess to put any green creature from your hand into play without paying for it. Elvish Piper, on the other hand, Urza's Saga, or Urza's Destiny, much more concise. 1 green, tap, put a creature card from your hand into play. It removes the green creature requirement, so it's functionally the better of the two cards. However, you can make an argument either card belongs in any deck running green where you've got big creatures you'd like to cheat out.
I agree. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do the next one. So the ones that I found were King's Assassin, which came out in Portal, and then Royal Assassin, which I feel like a lot of people know has been reprinted many different times, right? So King's Assassin, for 1 and 2 black, on your turn before you attack, you may tap King's Assassin to destroy any 1 tapped creature. It's a 1/1. Royal Assassin, same casting cost, 1 and 2 black pips, tap, destroy target tapped creature, also a 1/1. So very similar, almost the same. However, one was a beginner set, one was not. Wording's always going to be a little bit different. Power and toughness remains the same. But the cool thing is Commander, right? Which is the whole reason we're having this conversation, right? It's a format where you play with 1 card, 1 copy of that card. What does this do? This gives you technically 2 copies of that card because you can run both. They don't have the same name. They're not the same card, even if they serve the same function. What do you have for number 2, Donnie?
So let's talk about tutors. Again, like, I mean, you know, at the bottom of my heart, I'm a green mage. Sylvan Tutor, Worldly Tutor. Sylvan Tutor was originally printed in Portal. 1 green, sorcery, search your deck for a summoned creature and reveal that card to all players, then shuffle your deck and put the revealed creature or the revealed card on top of it. Worldly Tutor from Mirage, arguably one of the best sets ever printed. It's an instant. Now, so let's, you know, keep things in perspective. Portal didn't have instants. They removed that mechanic. Everything took place at sorcery speed. Worldly Tutor is an instant from Mirage. Search your library for a creature card and reveal that card to all players. Shuffle your library and put the revealed card back on top. Again, 1 green. These cards are literally identical in Commander.
Almost. Instant versus sorceries.
Exactly. But
That's the only difference.
I think that the...
But our next tutor is kind of the same way, though, too.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it just, again, you know, the beginner sets, they removed the instant mechanic because they felt that it was too complicated for beginners. Mm-hmm. I still don't know if I agree with that decision at the time or not.
Well, because that way they could learn the ins and outs of playing the game, like the super basic part. Besides just trying to figure out the order things go in. Like, they had to do everything on their turn instead of having to learn what you can do during your opponent's turn, what you want to do at the end of your opponent's turn, right? That was one of the things that was hard for me to learn, right? Okay, what's your next one? I know you got another tutor situation.
So, yeah, since we're already talking about tutors, let's move from green to blue. Mystical Tutor was, again, it's another Mirage card. 1 blue, search your library for an instant, interrupt, mana source, or sorcery card. Reveal that card to all players. Shuffle your library and put the revealed card back on top of it. Personal Tutor, again, from Portal, 1 blue, sorcery. Search your deck for a sorcery and reveal that card to all players. Shuffle your deck and put the revealed card on top of it. Arguably, Mystical Tutor is the better card, because it allows you to search for instants, interrupts, mana sources, and sorceries. But again, for 1 blue, you're basically getting the same effect.
So tutors, everyone, right? What do we love in our Commander games? Well, what do we love to hate in our Commander games? You either love them or you hate them.
I mean, tutors are a double-edged sword, right?
That's a topic for another day. We're going to move on. We're not going to get into that. That could be a very long podcast. So the next card we're going to talk about is we're actually going to jump back over to green. You're going to hear a lot of green and blue discussed today because those are the things I found that had the most similarities. Vitalize. Let's talk about vitalize and mobilize, right? Almost even the same name. For 1 green, right? They both work off of 1 green, and you untap all the creatures you control. Wording, untap all your creatures, right? Wording is different, but it does the same thing. 1 is an instant again, and 1 is a sorcery, because Portal was sorceries. What's also interesting is how these 2 cards do the same thing, right? But because there isn't as much Portal available, right? And this was kind of something we talked about before making the podcast today, was the price. The price of Portal, Portal 2, Portal 3 Kingdom, Starter, all of those early beginner sets. Some of those prices can be a little hefty, right? A little inflated because of there aren't as many out there. Where Vitalize is like a 75-cent card, Mobilize that came out in Portal that does the same thing but at sorcery speed is a $7 card.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, Norwood Priestess from Second Age it's like $100.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be.
No.
But again, you know, Portal wasn't printed into the ground. There's not a whole lot of copies floating around, so you know that price is literally driven by the market.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Do you have another card for us?
So the only other card that I wanted to talk about, we couldn't find any real corollaries for, but Assassin's Blade from Portal, 1 and a black. Play Assassin's Blade only after you're attacked before you declare Interceptors. Destroy any 1 attacking creature that isn't black. Because it was originally a sorcery, it has been errated to be an instant, making it a very, very popular piece of removal. It's an uncommon from Portal.
So just to give a little more context to our topic today, too, again, we're talking about cards kind of from 1997 to 2000 that were considered Portal or Starter, right? Portal had these 3 different sets. Starter, I believe, had at least 2. And one of the things we like to talk on is back in the day.
So, back when Portal first came out, it was a large part of the 60 card playing community just didn't appreciate it for what it was. Everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of players dismissed it. And I think that there's a lot of opportunities there because there's a lot of good cards there that fit into Commander better than they did. Because, ideally in a 60 card format, you don't need 8 copies of basically the same thing.
Was it something you could legally use in previous formats for what we had back then?
I'm not sure.
I don't think Portal was allowed to be played. I guess, so for us, right, we played Kitchen Table Casual. I'm going to let you go back to your thoughts, sorry. But we played Kitchen Table Casual.
So it didn't really matter to us.
So it didn't really matter to us what was considered legal, what could be played, right? But even then, people considered Portal, players considered that not a real card.
Yeah, you would get dirty looks if you were playing with essentially 8 of one card. Because back in 60 card formats, you could have 4 of everything.
You would have 4 of everything. If you had 4 of these, then you would have 8 cards that did the same thing.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
Sure. I never thought about it that way.
I can definitely see where, you know what? They probably weren't allowed.
They probably weren't
allowed
type
exactly
1
for
or
that
type
reason.
2.
Exactly.
Because they were not standard sets.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So I think, that's probably, the weirdest thing. But now that we have Commander and it's a singleton format and those cards are completely and totally legal. They're they matter. They're viable. So,
do now.
It does give you an extra level of redundancy that you don't normally see in things printed in the last 4 years, really.
Yeah. And redundancy is always nice, right? That's kind of what we're looking for. We want to do what our deck wants it to do, and we want as many opportunities to do the thing.
And those Portal cards allow that. They give you that extra little oomph.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. So those are our honorable mentions, and those are our conversation on Portal. We enjoy Portal. We know it's not always as easy to find now, even in good condition.
Yeah, it's getting those cards are getting more and more scarce. Some of the commons and uncommons you can still find frequently, but the rares are
harder to come by.
And again, that's 100% supply and demand.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of Casually Speaking.
We'll see you next time. Let us know how we did. Give us your thoughts in the comments. Tell us we suck. Tell us you love us.
Please don't tell us we suck. Don't listen to Donnie. We all know this.